Are you serious, guys? Are you serious? Welcome to the Coming Apocalypse. I'm Pastor Paul Begley, and it's quite amazing that we're celebrating 15 years online this Saturday, March 1st. And, of course, we're celebrating all week. And if you would like to help celebrate with us, if this ministry has touched your life in any way, through salvation, healing, just encouragement, or just information of the YouTube videos, or being a part of this online church, please celebrate with us with your best love gift that you can as we celebrate this week and, of course, on March 1st, 15th anniversary. Can I put a shout out real fast for the cutting edge of www.healthwithpaul.com? A cutting edge 2024 study showed that collagen can have drastic positive effects on your skin health. This study found that women who take a daily collagen drink see a noticeable reduction in wrinkles and firmer, more hydrated skin. But it's important not to use just any random collagen. Make sure you're using the collagen that's backed by the real science. And that's the 5 different types of collagen, fish and plant collagen. Guys, you'll become ageless. It's tasteless. It's odorless. It's amazing. Guys, do it now. Just go right now to healthwithpaul.com, www.healthwithpaul.com, and find out how this amazing multi-collagen research that they did here, creating this one scoop in the soup or in your smoothie every day, will change your complexion beautifully. All right? Okay. It really does work pretty well. People like it. It's at healthwithpaul.com. All right. I love having a little fun, but it does. It really is pretty good. It works really well. Okay. So now here's what's happening here. Let's talk about what's going on in the Middle East. And this is just now breaking. And I want to get right to it because the president, first of all, there was this huge funeral yesterday in Beirut, Lebanon, over the two leaders of the two organizations, the one that led Hezbollah for all those years, and which was Nasara, and then the guy that led Hamas for all those years. Both of them were killed, of course, within the last 3 months by the Israeli IDF. They had a massive funeral for him with almost 1 million people in the streets of Beirut, Lebanon. And while they were carrying the coffins through the streets, Israel went flying over top with 4 fighter jets as a show of force to let them know, don't even think about coming back and attacking us again. Well, while that's all going on, we got information that Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel's ready to return at any moment back to Gaza's fighting. They demand full demilitarization in the southern part of Syria as well. Speaking to the cadets graduating from the IDF Ground Forces Combat Officers Course, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned that Israel is ready to return at any moment to intense combat. The operational plans are ready to go again. Throughout his address, he kept promising total victory. Matter of fact, all of our hostages, without exception, will return home, he said. Hamas will not rule Gaza. Gaza will be a demilitarized area, and its fighting force will be dismantled. Netanyahu comes to the stage amid cheers and boos when he holds up a photo of those that were some of the hostages and how they were treated. Those 3 that were starved and looked gaunt and tortured. And Netanyahu said, this is why we will always remember what we are fighting for and who we are fighting for. Victory, victory, and only victory, said Netanyahu. The victory can be achieved in negotiations. It can be achieved in other ways, too. He says that the combination of diplomatic and military pressure on Hamas is what is enabling the return of the hostages. Referring to recent reinforcements sent to Gaza, Netanyahu says that the redeployment, alongside President Donald Trump's firm statement, brought about the release of the hostages in the recent weeks. And he said Netanyahu thanked Trump for his commitment to send the crucial weapons to Israel. The new defensive and offensive weapons will help us greatly in achieving our total victory. He also said that Trump sees eye to eye with Israel on Gaza, and we support President Trump's groundbreaking plan to enable the freedom to leave for Gazans and the creation of a different Gaza, said Netanyahu of the president's proposal to relocate the entire Gaza population and have the U.S. take over and rebuild the war-torn strip. In the West Bank, Netanyahu says the IDF troops will stay in cities as long as it takes. The tank platoon that Israel introduced into the West Bank means that Israel is fighting terrorism with all means and in all places. In Lebanon, the premier continues, the IDF is holding key positions until the Lebanese army and the Lebanese government can fulfill all their commitments according to the agreement. And troops will stay on the Syrian Mount Hermon and the buffer zone in the Golan Heights for an unlimited period of time. We will not allow the HTS, the al-Shams forces who are now in charge of Syria's government, or the new Syrian army to move into territory south of Damascus, he insisted. We demand full demilitarization of southern Syria from troops of the new Syrian regime, according to Netanyahu. And we will not accept any threats toward the Druze people as well. We will not let them be threatened. On Iran, he says, Israel will not accept a nuclear weapon in the hands of the Iranian regime. And he also thanked the outgoing IDF chief of staff for leading the IDF into the ongoing war as the crowd cheered on. So Netanyahu's laying the gauntlet down on the positions that Israel must have. Now, meanwhile, while that's going on, President Trump is preparing to send Steve Witkoff back to the Middle East. Matter of fact, he is sending Steve Witkoff as the White House envoy, will travel to the Middle East this coming Wednesday to discuss with Israel and Qatar and Egypt the possibility of extending the first phase of the Gaza hostage ceasefire deal, okay? Because all the hostages have been released for phase one. Why does this matter? Because the first phase of the hostage deal is expected to end on Saturday, which it did, under the Gaza deal. But the ceasefire will continue as long as the second phase negotiation is taking place. Israel and the United States want to try to extend this first phase of the deal by releasing more hostages in exchange for another week or two of ceasefire. Hamas officials, they wrote in their Telegram channel that the group will not hold any further talks with Israel until Israel releases those 600 prisoners being held by Israel, because Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu delayed their release on Saturday. He did that because of the way that the 6 Israeli hostages were released, paraded around in a propagandist way, and was such a terrible demeanor to those people. So what he's saying is this: we are hopeful that we have the proper time to finish off, to begin phase 2 and finish it off and get more hostages released and move the discussions forward, Steve Witkoff said yesterday afternoon while he was on CNN's State of the Union. But the White House envoy, Steve Witkoff, said he believes Netanyahu is motivated to release more hostages, okay? He also wants to protect the state of Israel. And so he's got a red line here. And he said what the red line is, and that is that Hamas cannot be involved in being in charge of the governing of the Gaza Strip when this thing is fully resolved. And so I think he's trying to square the circle on both of those things. But Netanyahu convened his security consultations about the way forward in the Gaza hostage ceasefire deal. Israel officials say that despite recommendations from the heads of the security services, Netanyahu delayed the release of the 600 Palestinian prisoners on Saturday because Hamas violated the deal. The heads of the security services told Netanyahu in a meeting that they recommended making every effort to exhaust the negotiations on the second phase of the deal or on extending the first phase of the deal. Now, the White House yesterday expressed support for Israel's decision to delay the release of the Palestinian prisoners, the 600, and said President Trump is prepared to support Israel in whatever course of action it chooses regarding Hamas. And given Hamas's barbaric treatment of the hostages, including the hideous parade of the children's coffins through the streets of Gaza, Israel's decision to delay the release of the prisoners is an appropriate response, White House National Security Council spokesman Brian Hughes said. Now, behind the scenes, we know Steve Witkoff met Saturday in Miami with Ron Dermer. He's the Israeli Minister for Strategic Affairs, who is leading the Israeli negotiation team. It was the second meeting between the two of them in the last 48 hours to discuss the second phase of this hostage deal. And Israeli officials say that Steve Witkoff wanted Qatari's Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdullah Rahman and Al Thani and Egyptian intelligence chief Hassan Mohammed Rashid to also negotiate, but their schedules would not allow. So the Israeli officials noted that the mediators did not want to speak for Hamas or negotiate for Hamas, and therefore they refrained from coming to Miami. The Americans understood that the mediators did not intend to cooperate or with the process that Witkoff and Dermer wanted to conduct in Miami, and that if they wanted to move forward, the negotiations had to be in the Middle East. So Witkoff told CBS Face the Nation that his 5-day trip will include stops in Qatar, Egypt, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. So you can see Steve Witkoff is being used by President Trump as the Middle East negotiator, which is what his specialty really is. And so you've got this all working. So it's a very contentious situation we have here. Hamas wants to remain in power of Gaza. Israel says no. Israel wants all the hostages released. Hamas says no. Trump wants all the Palestinians moved out of Gaza so Gaza Strip can be rebuilt. Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Hamas, just about everybody else says no. And Emmanuel Macron of France and United Kingdom's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, they both want a two-state solution, and so does the United Nations, and so does the Palestinians, and so does the Saudi Arabians, all want a two-state solution. Trump says no, and Israel says no. So these are the moving pieces and parts. Meanwhile, there's still quite a few hostages. Some are dead, some are alive, that are still being held by Hamas. So this is a very dangerous situation. And while this is all going on, guys, the negotiations about the war between Russia and Ukraine has also hit an impasse because Zelensky wants the Ukrainians to be a part of NATO, and Zelensky does not want to pay the $500 billion to the United States, repaying the United States for the war effort. Trump is saying Zelensky needs to go. Zelensky says, if you'll let Ukraine stay in NATO or become part of NATO, and we're not going to give you the $500 billion, I'll step down as president and you can put somebody else in. We can vote and put someone else in. Trump says you're going to go no matter what. Putin's going to keep the 20% of the land he took, and you're not going to get to be in NATO, but we could work on maybe an arrangement, an agreement with Russia that you'll get to become part of NATO in 20 years. Meanwhile, we are going to take your precious metals to pay back $500 billion. And so that's the moving part. Russia says, look, we don't care what you guys do. Here's the deal. Zelensky, you can stay, you can go, we don't care. But Ukraine, you're not going to be a part of NATO. And America, if you want to get $500 billion worth of metal from Ukraine, that's up to you. Whether you do or not, we don't care. And we'll stop the war if you guys are willing to end it. But if not, we'll just keep coming. We'll just take all of Ukraine. So this is kind of the situation developing there. Very, when you stop and look at both of these regions, I'm sorry, but I think we're miles apart in both areas. I really do. I don't think Ukraine really has many cards they can play. I think the gig's about up with them. And Trump is trying to get the right to. And so if America can have the right to go in and mine $500 billion worth of rare metals, that would put American businesses on the ground with some security support. And then in a long run, that is kind of good for protection for Ukraine. Russia won't want to mess with that, and Russia will back off. So you kind of see how this is playing out. The Middle East is a whole lot more complicated. To me, both are complicated, but boy, the Middle East is a lot more. I think the Russian deal is going to get done first. The Middle East, I don't know if that'll ever get done. To be honest with you, I don't think it ever does till Jesus comes back. I really don't. I think it's not till the millennial reign, okay? Jesus has to return first. But what it does mean is we're closer. Both these wars have brought us closer to the coming of Jesus Christ. Something biblical, guys, is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. That I can tell you. It's just a horrific situation, but there's a whole lot more stuff going on. While those two wars are going on. Oh, by the way, Dan Bongino has just been named. Trump has just named Dan Bongino the deputy director of the FBI. Dan is back. So let me see if I got this right. Dan Bongino, who has a pretty amazing resume when you start to read it. Here's what President Trump wrote this morning on his Truth Social. He said, great news for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for the United States, our country, has just been named the next deputy director of the FBI by the man who will be the best director ever, Kash Patel. Dan has a master's degree in psychology from the City University in New York. Also, he has an MBA from Penn State University. And he was a member of the New York Police Department, which is New York's finest. And he was a highly respected special agent, Secret Service agent of the United States Secret Service, and helped guard and protect President Barack Obama. And now he's one of the most successful podcasters in the nation, and something he is willing and prepared to give up in order to serve, working with our great new United States Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and FBI Director Kash Patel. Fairness, justice, law, and order will be brought back to the United States of America quickly. Congratulations to Dan. So Dan is back. Okay, remember, now you have to realize Dan was fired. He was on Fox News. He was fired from Fox News the same time that Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News. And the reason both of them were fired wasn't because they weren't successful, because Tucker had the most successful show ever in history of cable news, even more successful than Bill O'Reilly. And Dan Bongino was loved on Fox News. They both got fired, if you remember, because part of a lawsuit settlement with Dominican, I forgot the name of that. Was it Dominican something? During the election. That they filed a lawsuit against Fox, and Fox settled that lawsuit for $787 million. And here's what they had to do. They had to give $787 million to Dominican, and they had to fire Dan Bongino and Tucker Carlson. That was the deal. So, but Dan is back, this time not at Fox. He's back as the, he is the deputy director of the FBI. And Joy Reid was fired at MSNBC yesterday. So Joy is gone and Dan is back in a different Dominion voting machine. Thank you, Pam. Dominion voting. Thank you. Thank you, BP. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was. But so you remember how that deal went down? Dominion voting was awarded $787 million from Fox News. Yet Fox News was correct. But we know that now after the fact. But anyway, they had to pay $787 million, and they had to fire Tucker Carlson, and they had to fire Dan Bongino. And the reason they had to fire those two is those were the two guys that were standing the strongest about what went on January 6th. Anyway, there's a lot going on right now, guys. A whole lot going on right now. Yeah, and you'll probably see Dan Bongino. They are releasing the JFK files. They're going to release more UFO files, and they're going to release the Epstein files, and we're probably going to finally see the P. Diddy list before it's all said and done. There's a lot going on around the world right now. I mean, a lot going on. So hang on. Hang on.
Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in His grace this hour? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you washed in the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?
I'm pronouncing his name Bongino. Bongino? Is it Bongino?
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. Bongino.
Are you walking daily by the Savior's side? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Do you rest each moment in the crucified? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Or are you washed
Thank you, Carol.
in the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? And be washed in the blood of the Lamb. Come on!
Bongino. Thank you.
When the bridegroom cometh, will your robes be white? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Will your soul be ready for those mansions bright, and be washed in the blood of the Lamb? Or are you washed
In the blood.
in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Now lay aside those garments that are stained with sin, and be washed in the blood of the Lamb. There's a fountain flowing for the soul unclean. Oh, be washed in the blood of the Lamb.
Oh, yes.
Are you washed
In the blood.
in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?
we are serious, guys. Thank you, guys. We are celebrating 15 years. 15 years this Saturday. Of course, we're celebrating all week. 15 years. Man, time flies. Some of you have been with me just about the entire 15 years. I don't know how you put up with me that long, but I've put up with you, so I guess we're even. What? You didn't expect that one? Okay, but anyway, this Saturday, 15 years, and just to really appreciate it. What a great, amazing online church. We are celebrating our 15th anniversary. You can give your special love gift if you want to on Saturday. A lot of people like to do that on that very day. That would be great, or you can give this week. Whatever the Lord lays on your heart, feel free and do it, okay? Just feel free. Whatever the Lord puts on your heart. We just love celebrating many people coming to Christ and people being blessed. I hope you saw the video I played earlier for you this morning. It's Sister Heidi from Rachel's Heart Chapel there in Indiana, where all the blankets were going out to the people who are very, very ill. She does a beautiful presentation of those blankets, and I just thank God for the work of lives being touched through the Rachel's Heart Blanket Ministry. So check that out. I posted that earlier this morning on the videos here on YouTube. And you did not miss this. Yes, you could have been there for the live presentation of it, but you didn't miss it because it was recorded. And you can watch this entire 3 hours and 19 minutes and 45 seconds in which we review the book Revelation 9:11. And I'll be honest with you, I needed at least 2 more hours. And so one of those hours I am going to give you in the webinar coming up in March the 21st, our next webinar, which is going to be on aliens, above and beneath, part 2. It's disclosure, okay? And so that is really, really going to be good. We're actually, if you've ever had an encounter with something, whether you feel like it was an alien or you feel like it was some type of entity that you don't know what it was, but you know you definitely had an encounter with it. Maybe you thought you saw also. You might have seen a UFO, or you might have seen some kind of craft. You're not sure what it was, but you know you had an experience. You know you had an encounter. If you would like to share that, you can. We're setting up a special day in which my son, Paul Begley Jr., and myself will be interviewing you. We'll give each person that wants to tell their story 10 minutes to tell what you encountered, what you seen, what you experienced. Was you abducted? Did you see it? What did it look like? Was it a gray? Was it a tall white? Was it some type of ET? Was it a reptilian? Was it a demon? Was it some other kind of creepy entity? I don't know. You saw the lights. Maybe you saw the craft. Maybe you experienced it. Whatever it may be, we're going to give you 10 minutes. You can tell your story. There's been so many people who are part of this online church who have had encounters or have seen UFOs or have experienced with some type of entity, whether it be demonic or otherwise. I want you to feel free and share it. We're going to record those. We'll give you a special time that we're going to be recording. We're going to give you a special number to call or link onto a link, and you can tell your story. And then we will take all that information in from all the different people, and we will put together 2 hours worth of explanations. So we'll probably take the top 10, maybe the top 15 encounters, and they'll be part of the webinar, okay? It'll be a part of the webinar. So besides the different speakers we will get, there will also be at least two different hours of firsthand accounts, actual encounters that you all have had. That will be amazing, because I've received them from you guys over the years, whether it be in letters or emails or, different ways. But here's a chance to share this with the rest of the online church. So this will be an amazing webinar. I'm also going to do an hour on chapter 10 from the book Revelation 9:11. I'm going to do a whole hour on chapter 10, which is titled Fallen Angels, the Nephilim, UFOs, and the Great Deception. Okay? And I'm going to take a whole hour on this one chapter because I couldn't give it the full what it needed on Saturday. But still, if you missed Saturday, you have not missed it. Go right now and get a ticket. And here's what happens. You go get your ticket, you'll get a receipt in your email. And on the receipt is your link. So in the next 5 minutes, you can begin watching the seminar, Revelation 9:11. In 5 minutes, we went back to the link system. Everybody loves it. It's so easy. It's simple. So go there and get your ticket and watch Revelation 9:11. And it's 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's really, 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 everyone that has seen it has said it's the best work we ever did. It was the best presentation we've ever done, or I should say at least teaching, okay? Preaching and teaching from the book Revelation 9:11. So you can get that today. And so we want you to be blessed. Truly do. All right, guys. And I just saw over at Amazon that the book went up to number 38 right now in the rankings in the category of, what is the category there? Church and State, Religious Studies. In Church and State Religious Studies, Revelation 9:11 is right now ranked number 38 right now. And it's in the top 34,000 books on Amazon. And you might say, well, that's not that great. Ranked 34 in the top 34,000. Well, there's 34 million books, so it's not too bad. And it's doing pretty well. So if you haven't got a copy of it, they're selling it right now at Amazon for an incredible price of $13.39. They've reduced the price to $13.39. Or you can order from me direct for $25. I'll send you an autographed copy of the book Revelation 9:11. So check it out. Go to my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. All right. It's Dan Bongino. I was saying Dan Bongino. What? No, it's Dan Bongino. Bongino. Okay. He's now become the new deputy director of the FBI. Guys, keep praying, keep looking up, keep living for Jesus and loving one another. All right. Pray for the guy. Everybody knows I have. What's amazing is I reported on the 70 people that were beheaded in Congo, and they left them in that Christian church. It was the Evangelical Baptist Church over there in the Congo. 70 Christians just horribly beheaded in the church. And I brought that out, and it took Fox a week, but Fox finally did mention it this weekend. It took them 1 week. The other networks never have. It's just unbelievable to me how that Christian persecution never gets reported on mainstream medias around the world. You have to I have to dig to find this information. And I found it and brought it forward. And finally, after a week, Fox finally covered it. But the other guys, CBS, NBC, CNN, the other guys, they'll never cover it. No. They don't care. Give your life to Jesus Christ. He's coming soon. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. Yeah, we're living in the last days.